Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review, and next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series Hasbro Pulse exclusive 2-pack, the Heralds of Galactus. This is the Fallen One and Terrax. Fallen One is a new one. Terrax is a reissue from the previous Build-A-Figure from years ago in the Return of Marvel Legends line, and it is a straight reissue. There is nothing new to Terrax, so I will do a comparison with the previous Build-A-Figure and the newly released figure to show you what the differences are. There are not many, but there are some differences. One big thing to call out is, yes, the digital photo of Terrax on the front of the box is incorrect, as what looks like it has regular hips, but the figure actually has ball jointed hips, because this is the previous Build-A-Figure. This is like the Sandman Build-A-Figure and the Dormammu Build-A-Figure. They used like those same legs and hip pieces, so it is not new. So ball joints, not the standard hips that you see there on the front of the package. So this is another instance of the Hasbro packaging team messing up, not getting it right, which is unfortunate. You know, this isn't something that's going to be on store shelves, so there isn't going to be, well, I guess overseas they might be. So it's not one of those things where you're going to see in store. So, you know, you see the product when you order online, but it does suck to see that at some point they put in the effort to digitally sculpt some regular hips on this guy, but then at some point we're like, nah, I think we're just going to go with the original that came out 15 years ago or however long ago it was. I don't know. It's probably like 12 or 13 years ago maybe. But it really sucks. And then Fallen One, there's just not a whole lot going on for this guy. We definitely get a darker blue than we see on the front of the package, so we'll kind of get that out of the way. So here you see the two figures. It says Heralds of Galactus, Fallen One, Terrax, and we get some comic artwork hidden in the back. Besides, you get the 3D render of the figures, and then you get the comic artwork here on this side, which looks pretty cool. On the back of the package, you see all the accessories that they come with, which is these two like bubble blast effects that we used to get all of the time. So we have them here. The 3D renders actually kind of look like they may have put sparkles in there, the way they kind of designed that. I don't know if you can kind of see, but you see little specks in there. And I don't... Oh, you know what? Shit, there is glitter in there. So we'll try to get him for a brighter light and a closer look so you can see that. And then we do have the additional pair of hands for Fallen One. So he has a pair of fists and a pair of holding hands. We do get Terrax's weapon here, which has added paint from the previous Build-A-Figure release. So that is one addition that is made that it was positive. Not that it's a whole lot, but that definitely is something. And there we go. So here is the package and everything. I didn't actually review my Galactus figure or anything, but today I just took out the Heralds so we could see all of the Heralds. So we got Morg there. It's my first time actually taking him out. We got Frankie Ray Nova. First time taking her out, and her feet are a little bit wonky. I don't think I'm going to be able to get her to stand. Maybe I could just lean her back a little bit. And then we have this Silver Surfer. I do have the Walgreens exclusive version. I didn't bring that one out for this video, but we'll see all the Heralds together, and I'll probably put Galactus on my desk here, and all you'll see are his feet, but you can see the size comparison there. But let's get on for the review. Let's take Fallen One. Let's go over him, get him out of the way real quick, and then we'll move on to Terrax so we could do the comparison with the previous Build-A-Figure and this new release. Okay, so here's an up-close look at the Fallen One, and this figure is super generic. There is nothing going on. As you can see, there is absolutely no paint on the body whatsoever. It is in this, what would you even call it? Like a slate, like dark blue, indigo color, maybe indigo. It's just in this like matte color with nothing going on for it. Now, looking at images, you know, of the Fallen One, what could they have done? Maybe like a satin sheen or something. But I don't know what else they could have really done, so it's just kind of one of those things. How else do you do it? And it just doesn't translate into that fun of a figure. Maybe even a translucent plastic would have been kind of cool, but I'm not really sure. But you could see this hair is kind of a blue translucent color, and you do have we do have glitter in there. And that actually comes out looking pretty good. There we do get somewhat of a facial expression in there. Again, not a whole lot, just black on the inside of his mouth, white teeth, white eyes, and that is it. No other paint. We get the additional interchangeable hands, fist and open hand. Out of the package, he's got a fist on the left, open hand for the right. And we do get these cosmic effects, I guess, with the little like bubbly type effect. And there is glitter in there. So when I was looking at the 3D render, it looked like they had specks in there. There is glitter in there. Not as much as kind of the 3D render would kind of lead you to believe, but it's definitely in there, like you can see right there by my thumb. you could definitely see it a little bit more, and those just kind of go on the wrist, but it looks like he's just done in kind of the, I think this is the Cap Wolf body, and it just looks weird without like proper boots or anything, because then his ankles get all small and his feet are all weird. My leg is a little bit warped out of the package. It seems like this set definitely, out of other sets, definitely had more problems with the warping of the legs. Like I've always seen on the Fallen one, a lot of people posting where the legs are like super bent out and warped. So mine is no different there. But let's go ahead and zoom out for his articulation right now. Okay, so the Fallen One's articulation, he can look down all the way. He's not going to be able to look up because the hair is really going to get in the way. You do get some pivot going on in there, and if you wanted to do a full rotation, you really could. The shoulders, you can get the shoulder to go up and straight out like so. You get a full rotation in there. Upper bicep swivel, which is kind of tough. He has the larger shoulder balls there. So the bicep swivel is actually tough to fully get it around, but you can work it out that way. You get a double jointed elbow like so, and it does have the pins. It is an old body mold. Pins are the same color as the body, so the pins don't bother me as much. Pinless is always better, yes, but when it's same color, it's not as big of a deal for me, at least anyway. Wrist swivel, and they do hinge. We have an ab crunch on here, so his ab crunch isn't very far. He's only going to crunch forward that much, which isn't a whole lot. Goes back a little bit more. Waist swivel in there, as you can see. Legs go out that far apart. Is not very much at all. He can't kick forward very, very high though, so that's the only positive that he probably has. Leg doesn't really go back. You have an upper thigh cut in there. Double jointed pin knee, because it is, again, an older body mold. You get that much bend at the knee. We have a calf swivel in there. Foot hinges all the way down. We get some hinge up, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. And yes, I do think the feet are a little too small for this body. Usually I think when we have this body, we actually get some kind of boots, like a booted character, so it doesn't look as bad. But there we go. So not a whole lot of movement to him and a pretty generic looking form. Okay, and here is the Terrax Build-A-Figure in there. He is looking pretty menacing. There's not a whole lot of difference with, again, this reissue and the previous Build-A-Figure. So skin tone is going to be a little bit different. Let me get this weapon out of his hand. That might help space-wise. So the skin tone is going to be a little bit darker. So as you can see, the original Build-A-Figure was a little bit lighter in gray, but so how the kind of the paint is, there seemed to be a little bit of a wash throughout all the gray to kind of make it look a little textured. As you can see there, but what they did on the new one is they actually added in shading, so you could see the lighter gray of the plastic mold, and then they actually applied paint on the outside to really darken up that gray. So that's a big difference there, as you can see on the arm as well, because on the inside, like, of the arm, you can see it's a little bit lighter, or actually I guess the light gray would be the actual paint that's added. So the skin tone is actually the darker color, and then they added in a little bit of light gray shading in there to bring out some of the texture of his skin. As you can see there, the reds are a little bit different. We get more of a metallic red, whereas the previous Build-A-Figure had kind of a deep red. Now we get a little bit more of a metallic red. Same goes for the armor piece. So the chest plate there, you can see, is more of a deeper red, whereas here we get a little bit more of a metallic, which gives it a slight pink sheen in the super bright lights. As you can see, a little bit of bright colors there. The blue is a little bit more matted, whereas this one is a little bit shinier. A little bit of a difference there. The same goes for the red, a little bit more metallic versus a deep red. We get more of a gold as opposed to a yellow gold around the boots, and then the red again goes to a more metallic color. And really that's kind of the biggest difference, although I'm looking at the back now. The previous Build-A-Figure, his back muscles were all exposed, and I don't know if, you know, how they did that when it comes to the armor piece. You can see some of the blue painted on there. But here you can see they went all the way up, and it just kind of looks like a spray look, and then just kind of fades into the skin tone, which looks a little bit odd, but you know, it's not terrible, I guess. And then the teeth, I just really noticed this. His teeth are very white on the new one, and they didn't separate and line out the individual teeth like they did on the previous Build-A-Figure. And it looks like silver paint on the previous one for the eyes, which then kind of get hidden with the light color of the gray, where we have white eyes now, which works and stands out a lot more with the dark gray skin tone. But again, same exact figures. They did not make any changes. And then actually this headpiece here, right, we get more of a darker gray color versus a blue color of the original Build-A-Figure. Looking at the weapons, here is the the new one. You can see we actually get some painted details in some of those areas of the handle, some panel lining in there, whereas the previous one, you could see it was just done in all flat basic gray plastic, which doesn't look very good at all, whereas this one actually looks a little bit better. It's more of a silver color and doesn't look as cheap plastic, even though the plastic is really the same. It just looks more silver, which is actually a really nice touch. And then the panel lining actually helps bring out the details a lot more. So that's definitely an upgrade there. In all honesty, I think I like the skin tone of the previous Build-A-Figure more than that of this new one. But the new one, I will be keeping. This old Build-A-Figure, I will be selling it off, as I don't need two Terrax figures. And since this one was a return of Marvel Legends, and my collecting rule for Marvel Legends has been to be a completist from the time Infinite series started. So anything prior to that, like Return of the Marvel Legends, I don't have them all. I have a lot, but I don't have them all. And so the Terrax Build-A-Figure is one that I am willing to let go. But before we do that, let's take a look at his articulation. Okay, so Terrax doesn't have the most dynamic movements or anything. So looking down, it's kind of an issue. It doesn't really help. This is, I guess, would be straight on out or as high up as he can look, and then as far down as he could look. We have there, and then full rotation in there, and you do get some pivot going on. The arms you can get to go straight on out. You could do a full rotation, but that's going to be a pain in the ass with his armor. There, you have upper bicep swivel in there. Single jointed elbow that does have a gigantic pin, because again, it is a complete reuse of something that is quite old. So you only get that much bend there, which is about 90 degrees. No swivel at the elbow or anything like that. Wrist swivels, and we do have a hinge in there, which works a little bit, not a whole lot. Ab crunch, so he can crunch forward with, let's see, without moving the legs. Crunching forward is only a little bit there. Going back, you can actually do it a lot more. Of course, there is a waist swivel in there with this guy. That skirt piece does really kind of get in the way with that a little bit. Here's where it sucks, because the hips are the ball joints and not the standard hips that we see on the digital render. But you can do a full splits with that though, which is actually pretty good. But then the problem is you can't kick. Oh, you can kick forward, huh? Usually ball joints don't do that. So you can't kick forward with that ball joint. Usually you have to twist the ball joint, but I guess here that is actually quite different. So is that an update that they did with the old one? I have to, you know what? I'm gonna have to look at that now, because maybe that is one update that they did. Now, I guess you could kind of still kick out even with these ball joints at the hips, so it's still the same. I guess it's a little bit better than like old school ball joints at the hip, where you would actually have to turn the ball to kick up forward. So here you can actually do that, and then you can actually kick the leg back quite a bit. So you know what, the ball joint isn't so bad here, aside from being really ugly when you look at the side. You still get the same functionality out of it, and the fact that you could do the full splits with it, you know, isn't so bad. You have an upper thigh cut in there. You get a double jointed knee, which gives you that much bend there. You do have a boot swivel at the top of the boot. Foot hinges down, hinge up ever so slightly, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So yeah, so even though this is a reissue, you know, a new body mold would have been better, but this was a cheap, easy way for Hasbro to get these Heralds out there. Not saying that the 2-pack is cheap, I'm saying it was easy and cheap for Hasbro to produce, and then charge a fairly high price. I don't even remember how much it was. I want to say it was like a $60 2-pack, which is really high. Now, granted, Terrax is a bigger figure, so at a Build-A-Figure, he would be like a deluxe price, and then this would be a regular price, so they come up with whatever the price is. It's probably not really worth it unless you don't have a Terrax figure and you need a Terrax figure. If you got Galactus and you want as many Heralds as you could possibly get, then it's a 2-pack that you're going to want. But if you have the previous Build-A-Figure for Terrax, you're probably good. I don't think it's going to be a better figure. The only thing that's better is his weapon because it's painted, and that's something that you'd be able to do on your own. The Fallen one, it's cool to have, you know, an additional Herald, but in figure form, it's just not very exciting, like at all. The hair, the translucent hair looks cool. You know, we actually have showing some emotion in the head because he's screaming and he's angry. But other than that, you know, easy passes for sure. You guys let me know in the comments below if you picked up the 2-pack or if you're going to pass on it. Let me know, comments below. But let's see how the Heralds all look together. Okay, so we got a lot of Heralds of Galactus this year. So we have Firelord, which was the fan channel exclusive on the Retro Fantastic Four card back. Silver Surfer, Frankie Ray Nova, and Morg all came actually with the HasLab Galactus figure. I have not reviewed those figures, and I have not reviewed Galactus. I don't think I will at this point, unless you guys would be interested. Then I may do a video, but that's going to be really difficult probably to work together at this point. The Silver Surfer, I'm actually liking a lot more than I initially thought I would. I thought the silver was going to be very dull and didn't look good. I still think the Walgreens exclusive one looks better. But having this one under some bright lights, he does look very shiny. He does look very silvery. So it's not really a problem. The Fallen one figure is definitely going to be at the bottom of my list in terms of these Heralds that we have here. Morg is probably going to be the coolest one because, you know, he gets all the unique sculpting and all of that. Silver Surfer is always the best character, I would say. But the Terrax figure is really good. You know, again, Build-A-Figure I think is still better. And seeing as how it's the same, you know, it's one where it's like, okay, the Build-A-Figure can easily win, even though it's, you know, 10 plus years old and this Terrax figure is new. Build-A-Figure wins, but you guys let me know in the comments below which one is your favorite Herald and which one would you like to see Hasbro release. But now let's get to see the Heralds along with Galactus himself. Okay, and there's Galactus there. As you can see, Terrax comes up to maybe about the bottom of his kneecap. That's how kind of huge Galactus is, as he's just towering up over there, and you can't even really see because of how the lighting is. He's so dark. Yeah, you still can't even get his full face. There he is. There's Galactus. So Galactus is just really crazy. But here we have his Heralds. You guys let me know down in the comments below again which one is your favorite Herald. What do you think of this 2-pack? Is it one that you're passing on, or did you pick it up for Terrax, or do you have your original Terrax Build-A-Figure and agree and think that it's actually the better figure? What do you think of Galactus? I haven't actually messed with him a whole lot, to be honest with you. When I got him, I took him out of the box, put him on the floor, and kind of kept him there for a while. And I'll tell you, this guy falls over more than my damn Sentinel. And the Sentinel, everyone talked about how the knees were all bad on the Sentinel. Galactus's legs don't move, which then causes a problem where he likes to tip over very easily, which he's done various times on me already. Anyone else have that problem? Then let me know in the comments below. But again, this is about the Hasbro Pulse exclusive 2-pack with Fallen One and Terrax. I think it's overpriced. I don't think it's necessary unless you really need as many Heralds as you can possibly get. But again, you guys let me know your thoughts. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, hit the join button, become a channel member, join the MCU collective, and as always, thank you guys for watching.